the pre-scientific era, which can be classified from AD 1000 to 1880. The classical era, 1880 to 1930. Now, what was that, Alok? Previous question. I'll be stuck and I'll not be able to go ahead. Planning and controlling. See, basically when you plan, there's a planning premise, and you want to execute the plan as you have chalked out, right? And there could be various environmental and organizational constraints, right? So planning basically involves the determination of goals and objectives, right? The controlling talks about whether the goals and objectives which you have set are achievable and is being achieved or not. So the actual and the desired output is constantly compared, reviewed, maybe rewritten, and additional resources that are required or maybe roadblocks that are there are eliminated. Is that clear? Planning and controlling. Yeah, there are measurement systems in place. Our Prime Minister constantly says, early fiscal year they would say the growth would be 8%, 9%, 8.4%, but while you're moving through that year, planning is for the future. So present is something which you're going through. Controlling refers to the function through which the actual and desired output is measured. So planning is an aspiration, I would say, efforts towards an aspiration. While you're wanting to achieve a certain growth, for example, from the economic point of view, you would see there is inflation, there's a price rise, there are global, global effects, policies which has an impact on your plans. Similarly, for organization, for example, if you look at the, the way Tata's nano car has moved, isn't it? You had a Shingor case where everything was planned. You had to go out to roll out the car, and there was this political problem or the environmental problem or people problem, whatever you may call it, and it did not happen. Yeah. And also, if you look at maybe sales of some products, you want in a certain fiscal year the growth to be of certain percentage, certain number of units, certain revenue to move in. Yeah. Now, because of competition, because of changing customer expectations, or some other better product which has come up, you are under competition. Now, we recently saw the Maruti Manesar case. Is that clear? So, the damage control or steps to see what is the actual output, why it is low from the predicted, or your your desire could be higher. In the sense, you would have planned for less, there is more opportunity available. So basically analyzing the opportunity and threats and making sure that what is desired is achieved also. Is that clear, Alok? Is that clear? Planning and controlling. So measurement systems in place, perception surveys in place, communication in place. Yeah, Alok? Not much. Why? What happened? Yeah, true. Controlling refers to the function through which the actual and the desired output is measured. Yeah, controlling keeps a check on the planning process. if you don't have control measure systems in place, your desired output you might not achieve. I want certain number, let's say company says certain number of units needs to be produced in a certain year. Right, so you have a review every maybe quarter, every 15 days, every month. Are you moving in the right direction? Will you be able to achieve? If you're not able to achieve, what are the reasons? It could be a mere employee problem. Is that clear, Alok, now? Alok, is it clear? Yeah, yes, Chalini, Sushmita, yes. How frequent? It depends upon how much of constraints you have. If you're an organization which you have had, where you have had number of problems in the last couple of years, then obviously the review should be maximum. Where you have resources also, in terms of, let's say, human resource itself, new people continuously coming in. So how do you induct them? How do you train them? How do they understand the organizational vision and move and carry on with the same pace as where you are? Plus, how much environmentally savvy you are? How much of changes you're bringing in terms of the environmental demands? Industry you are in. Yeah, industry is a big, I would say business. When you're, Ashish, when you're referring to business, I would say the industry. Yeah, the automobile industry could be one, the pharmaceutical industry could be one, the insurance industry could be one, the banking industry could be one. So recently, the SBI head came and said we should, the government should eliminate the cash reserve ratio, CRAR, where the banks have to mandatorily keep a proportion of their money as in a liquid phase. Right, so industry-wise there are expectations, and organization-wise also, I would say. For example, if you look at the last 1 year trend of Maruti, you would see that they had labor problems and they had a huge market demand also. So even though if the market demand was high and they were trying to meet that, they were not able to resolve it through their employees. See how much of loss, and finally they had to go in for a lockout. Is that clear, Alok? So what my stand would be, when you plan, you need to understand how much of the frequency, or maybe the measurement systems, how frequently you need to monitor, so that you are able to achieve the desired output. Yeah. Some of the leading names here in the evolution of management. If you look at administrative theory, you have Henry Fayol and Mary Parker Follett. In the bureaucratic management, you have Max Weber. In the scientific management, you have Frederick Taylor and the Gilbreths. In the behavioral era, you have the very famous Hawthorne experiments. I have intentionally put on the era so that we are able to understand the environment that existed during that particular period of time. And the modern era, where Douglas McGregor wrote the book The Human Side of Enterprise in 1960. Is that clear? Yeah. The pre-scientific era, I would say, is a difficult era where the economy was agrarian, the level of workers was illiterate, the workers' expectations were to take care of the family, the management tools and techniques were crude, and managerial role, there was no formal management. So you had a barter system there. If you look at the administrative management, contribution of Max Weber is immense. The era was industrial. Level of workers were literate, right? The workers' expectations were economic, crude to sophisticated. and Fayol's 14 principles were in place. So Max Weber in 1864 to 1920 developed the bureaucratic management theory. He developed this theory on considering the fact that a goal-oriented organization comprising thousands of individuals would require a set of regulations and controls through a system of management. So according to the bureaucratic management theory, there should be a clearly defined hierarchy, regulations and authority. Weber advocated the bureaucratic form of management where activities and objectives were wisely planned and divisions of work were clearly explained. Weber's theory of bureaucratic management also lays emphasis on enhancing technical competence of employees and evaluating their performance on the basis of merit. Today, the term bureaucracy is often taken in a negative sense to describe bureaucratic organizations that put impersonal efficiency before the needs of human resource. Bureaucratic organizations are seen as large and impersonal organizations that have no concern or commitment towards its employees. However, Weber, through the bureaucratic organizations, sought to improve the performance of well-recognized organizations by making their operations predictable and productive by continuous controlling and monitoring. The concepts given by Weber regarding the theory of bureaucracy of management are much similar to the concepts given by the scientific management theorists. Bureaucracy has been successful for many organizations such as General Electric and Xerox, where individuals have embraced teamwork as suggested by Weber. So it includes the following principles: a well-defined hierarchy. It shows that all positions within a bureaucracy are structured in a way that allows the higher level managers to monitor and control the performance of individuals at lower levels of an organization. This explicit chain of command helps in maintaining control and order throughout the organization. So bureaucracy, as Max Weber said, is about control and order. Division of labor and specialization. It involves giving responsibility to the employees according to their specialization. Yeah, in this way, each employee has the essential expertise to do a particular task in an organization. Effective standards. It involves setting operating standards and guidelines that direct all organizational activities performed by the employees. Impersonality. Because rules are more important. Hence, more for organization and less for the individuals. And for every work, there are standard operating procedures and formal rules. Yeah, Suraj, what is your question? Yes. The less said, the better. Why we are discussing this is that these are the important principles they contributed then, which still exist in organizations, right? And since people are the ones, or the managers are the guys who practice this, it has been subject to a lot of criticism. But in some way or the other, yeah, Anubhav, it's an old school, but it is still prevalent. That's a big thing, and that is why we need to study about it. If you look at the scientific management, it was built upon the contributions of Frederick Taylor, Henry L. Gantt, and the Gilbreth. The school was founded as a result of increasing need of productivity. Productivity had to be increased, and that is why the scientific researchers pursued for. So when the supply of labor in the United States fell short of the demand, the only way out was realized by the experts was to increase workers' efficiency. Yeah, Atul, I'll come back to your question. Let me just continue this, please. The founders of the scientific school of thought made various contributions in the field of management. So if you look at Frederick Taylor, 1856 to 1915, he is known as the father of scientific management. He began his career in 1875 as an apprentice in a small machine shop in Philadelphia, US. After that, in 1978, he joined the Midwell Steel Works as mechanist and went up to the position of chief engineer in 1884. Throughout his career, he was concerned about enhancing the labor productivity without putting stress on workers. He conducted many experiments in this regard, and through his experiments, he developed a theory of management called scientific management. The theory of scientific management, or the scientific school of thought, involves the application of scientific methods of study and analysis of various management problems. The theory of scientific management focuses on applying scientific and logical techniques to improve workers' efficiency. So basically, if you look at what is scientific management, it means knowing exactly what you want, you're meant to do, and seeing that they do in the best and the cheapest way. So he worked on developing the principles of scientific management based on production line and time system. The system involves measuring the productivity of individuals with respect to the time consumed. He used the time study to break jobs into subcomponents and then designed quick and easy methods to perform each job. Yeah, modern Six Sigma, yes. Frederick was able to find out productivity of a worker by comparing the actual output with the projected output. He then advised employers to pay workers according to their productivity and created the differential rate system of wage payment. So the practical lessons which we see even today is about making results based compensation of performance, which was not part of the bureaucratic method. Rules and procedures are important there. Carefully design jobs with efficient work methods. Carefully select workers with the abilities to do these jobs, right man for the right job. Train supervisors to support workers so that they can perform jobs to the best of their abilities. The two other important contributors in the scientific school of thought is Henry L. Gantt and the Gilbreths. So according to Gantt, every worker who finished the assigned work at the end of the day should get a 50% bonus. He further improved upon this idea by adding the supervisory element. He proposed that every supervisor whose subordinate reaches the desired standard of production also qualifies for bonus. Right? So there is management application coming in place along with science here. The Gilbreths, who were the married couple, made their contribution form of fatigue and motion studies to the school of thought. Now, according to them, the ultimate, yes, you're right, current incentive based, studied and identified way back in 1860s. According to the Gilbreths, the ultimate purpose of scientific management was to help workers in maximizing their output and realizing their full work potential. Now, in their study, they tried to reduce and eliminate the tasks that were not necessary to perform, which helps in reducing the stress and fatigue being caused by them. So they used motion picture cameras to find out every economical movement that would help in upgrading performance and reducing the stress or fatigue. The concept, though, was scientific and also tried to focus on the human welfare, right? Monotonous jobs tend to create fatigue. Right, so you have identified some of the important contributors in the evolution of management. In the classical school, Henry Fayol was a significant contributor. So the 14 principles of management which he gave was division of work, division of work or division of labor, authority, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest to the common good, fair remuneration, equity, centralization and decentralization, Scalar chain represents the line of authority from upper management to lower management. Unity of command. It refers to the principle of chain of command according to which the employees should receive orders from only one manager. So this helps in reducing hierarchical complexity and any other work related confusions. So you would see your organizational design structure is an outcome of, to quite an extent, to what contribution Henry Fayol said. Your project design, your matrix design slightly deviates and says that one man could have two bosses, but that's a completely project based organizational design, right? Esprit de corps refers to team spirit, harmony and mutual understanding among members of different teams in an organization. Team spirit. Fayol cautioned the managers that they should not encourage the division of employees in groups as it puts adverse effect on the morale of employees. So esprit de corps can be inculcated in an organization by coordinating work, encouraging employees to develop cordial relationship with each other and ensuring employees that they have important contribution in the organization. Similarly, Mary Parker Follett from 1868 to 1933 contributed extensively to the classical school of thought by adding many new elements. Unlike Weber, she believed in teamwork, therefore devoted herself to study behavior and management science. Follett believed that an individual can perform more effectively in a group rather than in isolation. Scalar chain represents the line of authority from upper management to lower management. This chain involves a flow of communication from top to bottom level of organizational hierarchy. Fayol advocated that every order, information, messages and requests should pass through the scalar chain. Is that clear, Anil? Line of authority from top management to bottom to the lower management. So one-way communication he kind of prescribed, but today we have BCC and CC and multiple lateral communication happening, which is the demand of the modern era, knowledge economy. Yeah. So Mary Parker Follett said, management is an art of getting things done through people. Now, according to her opinion, a group facilitates the contribution of diverse talents of individuals to achieve something effectively and innovatively. So Follett's model was a revolutionary model then, in the sense she said it's also an art, not just merely a science. In the same classical school, you also have Chester I. Barnard, very significant contributor there from 1886 to 1991, who extensively read sociology and philosophy and used his rich work experience in developing management theories. He became the president of New Jersey Bell in 1927. He emphasized that organizations should maintain a balance between the organizational objectives and the need of the employees. According to Barnard, people came together in a formal organization to achieve ends that they cannot accomplish alone. He also stressed upon the importance of moral values and ethical commitments. He went further to describe workers as a basic strategic factor of, so organizational goals are important, but not at the cost of the individual needs. Is that clear? So you have seen the classical era, which had the administrative and the scientific management, where you came across very respective researchers, scientists of management, Mary Parker Follett, Chester I. Barnard, Max Weber, Henry Fayol, Frederick Taylor, Henry L. Gantt and Gil Bretz. Is that clear? Can I go ahead? Yeah, Umid, carry on with your question. We'll go to the scalar chain then. Scalar chain, as I said, it represents a line of authority from upper management to lower management. Line of authority flows from top to bottom. That was what was advocated then when he wrote the principles of management. And what's the next one? Unity of command. refers to the principle of chain of command, according to which the employees or workers should receive orders from only one person, one manager. One person cannot have two managers. That's what he said. Yeah, hello, carry on with your question. Ashit had a question. I'll come back to you, Ashit, with your impersonality question. Yeah. Manager. Person cannot have two managers. That's what he said. Down with your question. Where is Alok's question? Ashit had a question. I'll come back to you, Ashit, with your yes. Question. Yeah, everything is there in the chapter 1. Maybe not as extensively. Let me just have a look. I don't have the book right. I'm not referring to your book right now. Yeah, you have all that in page number 8 and 9. Evolution of Management Thought, page number 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, almost 12, 13, all that are there, don't worry. 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. All those are there in the... Yep. I'll go to the behavioral era.
Everything is there in chapter 1, theory as
See, behavioral era, I've written something called as assumption here. The assumption, number 8. Can you just tell me what is assumption?